G'day, I'm Nige,
And I'm Danny.
and we work for the Biodiversity Conservation Trust, where we support landholders like you to conserve, manage and restore native vegetation on your properties.
Today we're going to take you through some of the things you need to consider before undertaking a native veg restoration project.
We have developed detailed guidelines to assist you in making decisions about regeneration and revegetation for your site. We encourage you to make use of the Restoring Native Vegetation Guidelines. In addition to using our guidelines, we really encourage you to also seek out the advice of experienced local revegetation experts in your region, such as Landcare, Local Land Services or Greening Australia.
When considering revegetation on parts of your property, it's really important to spend the time assessing your site and deciding what the best level of intervention really is. This may mean watching how vegetation on your site responds across seasons and wet and dry years, and what may be happening in neighbouring properties. Assessing your site will help to develop an understanding of the level of modification that exists and in turn the appropriate level of management intervention. The spectrum in the BCT's Restoring Native Vegetation Guidelines may be useful in your decision making. This spectrum is a simple graphic that helps you decide on the actions needed for your site. With an understanding of the current state of the proposed area, you can decide if natural regeneration, assisted regeneration, or revegetation, or a combination of these, is the most appropriate course of action to achieve your objective.
Let's start by looking at an area with a low level of modification. Some of the signs that might indicate that your site is in quite good health could be the dominance of long-lived native grasses and palatable ground cover plants, the presence of old remnant trees, a relatively low number of weeds, or a nearby source of seeds such as a patch of forest or grassland. In this instance, your site could be an area dominated by native species which have been affected by a history of long-term grazing. If your site shows only low levels of modification, it would be best assisted by natural regeneration. This is a process where plants can grow back naturally, either from seed in the seed bank or from a nearby canopy with little intervention.
A site with moderate levels of degradation may have a mix of both established natives and invasive weed species. If your site shows a moderate level of degradation, it will most likely see the best results from assisted regeneration. This usually means the removal of threats such as grazing animals and weeds. In some cases, providing a trigger for natural regeneration, like controlled burning, to stimulate the seed stock may also be appropriate. In these sites, it may be of benefit to directly seed or plant some specific species that have been lost from the site to accelerate restoration. For example, planting of mid-story shrubs into this moderately modified woodland would restore some vegetation structure in the site.
If your site is highly modified, revegetation in the form of active planting will often be required to improve condition. Highly modified sites have little chance of regenerating on their own. Often, the dominant ground cover is an exotic and competitive grass species. If your site is highly modified, planting can be done using either seeds or established seedlings. The number one rule for success in these sites is good site preparation to reduce competition for new seedlings to grow.
Once you have assessed your site, BCT ecologists can work with you to develop a revegetation plan. We'll help you to establish clear objectives and timeframes, outline the management actions to be undertaken, and define the assessment and reporting requirements. The final management plan may include a combination of options, such as actively controlling weeds and pest animals, and then planting and maintaining native seedlings. To set up an appointment, contact your local BCT Landholder Support Officer. As you can see, there's lots of things to consider when undertaking a re-veg project. I encourage you to look at our re-veg guidelines available on the website.
Feel free to get in touch with us at the BCT, or for some local advice, contact your local Landcare group.
Thanks for watching.